ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa will today lay a wreath at the gravesite of one of the founding presidents of the party, Richard Mahabane, in Kroonstad. The party is kicking off its build-up program towards the January 8th statement in the Free State. It is also expected to wrap up its 55th National Conference via a hybrid session tomorrow. Newzroom Afrika's Govan Whittles is in Kroonstad and joins us live. Govan, good morning and thank you for joining us. Now, tell us a little bit about Richard Mahabane.
Well, what we know about Zacchaeus Richard Mahabane is that he was the second president of the ANC, followed John Dube. What's interesting about his presidency was that he ascended to political activism through the South African National Native Congress. He was he was first the president of the Cape chapter of that Congress, and there he really was able to show up a lot of support among the non-European citizens, and he was in fact one of the first which opposed the taking away of voting rights for non-European residents of the Cape in the late 1800s. What's interesting about his presidency of the ANC, after taking over the presidency, he was of course a Methodist minister and tried to lead the ANC down its initial path of aristocracy. He was succeeded by J.T. Gumede, and once he realized that the successor, J.T. Gumede, the president of the ANC, had started to gather a lot of pro-communist supporters, he was instrumental in creating the conditions for J.T. Gumede to be overthrown by him, and he took back the presidency of the ANC. He was later succeeded by A.B. Uma up until that's after 1940. Of course, A.B. Uma is well removed when the Youth League of the ANC was established. So in many ways he represents the early non-racial character of the ANC and was someone who was able to unite at that time the non-European members of the ANC who were both black and so-called colored, and he was able to foster that unity among them in the early stages of the ANC, and eventually he was part of what one would say was the first political scandal or political contestation which led to the overthrowing of an ANC president. This, of course, is relevant because we've seen a former president of the ANC, former President Jacob Zuma, trying to take part in the overthrowing of the current president, within the party at least, Cyril Ramaphosa. And today we're expecting the president of the ANC to lay a wreath. We're here in Sisselville. We'll speak to members of the community shortly, but we're also expecting him to reflect on the unity of the ANC and how he wants the conference to conclude when it resumes virtually with those 9 hubs across the country tomorrow.
It's a colorful political career there for Mahabane. I mean, you're saying you're about to speak to the people of Kroonstad. It seems like it's quite a buzz there. What's the feeling like for the laying of the wreath that's going to happen this morning?
Well, there's a lot of excitement. Well, what's interesting about this wreath-laying ceremony is that it comes at a time where the people are demanding service delivery. That's really the clearest way to put it. Let's show you what the residents have done here in Sisselville in Kroonstad. We'll speak to 2 of these residents now. Before we do, take a look at the posters that some of the residents have created and put up here. We ask for service delivery, no jobs, please help us. A lot of young people that are here. We have been able to establish that this area has been plagued by water cuts, and driving through the community of Sisselville, it's clear that there's a lot of desperation in the air. Mahabane himself from Tabantre in the Orange Free State, he was laid to rest here because of because this was where his activism was concentrated. But let's move away from the history. Let's talk to some of the residents. Sir, we'll begin with you. Thank you so much for your time. Just tell us your name and tell us what life is like in Sisselville here in Kroonstad right now.
Yes, my name is Mzam. I live here in Kroonstad for such a long time. There's nothing in Kroonstad, as you can see. Everything that is happening, that is good in Kroonstad. It's whereby when we get the visit from the parliament, the minister or the president, it's whereby you can see activities as if something good is happening, of which when they left, it start from scratch, from zero.
We see some posters asking for service delivery. What service delivery like here?
Service delivery like the electricity, water, storages, everything that we need as a community. The roads, everything. Like when it's raining, everything, you can't even walk by foot when it's raining.
Why?
Maybe there is that looting. Because now and then, it's new municipal manager, it's new mayor, time frame.
We understand that there was some water cuts here.
Yes.
Tell us about the water cuts.
The water cuts, there is this location called Senzela. It's almost more than 10 years. Even now today, maybe there's water because the president is here. But after that, honestly speaking, there's no water. Even when it comes from the taps, it's brown, the river water.
Thank you so much. Let's talk to another community member here. Sir, thank you for your time. Just tell us your name, please, and tell us what do you hope to hear from the president, or what do you hope he will say?
Okay, my name is Cyril Ramaphosa. I hope to hear to the president to tell about the young people. As we are young people, we need a facility just like the football. You can see the schools are big and they have a big crowd. So maybe if the councillors, the committee of those people who are in parliament or in the occasion of the town, those the people that are big, if they can combine and talk about who can make a facility, maybe a stadium for people, a younger child, for a better future, for next future, or Budiben such as Budiben. Budiben is a school. Next to him is a big of a crowd. They can make a field stadium there so that people, the learners, can make grow up with a football.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. We do appreciate your time. Those are service delivery issues. They're hoping to hear a few answers from the president on that. It's important to note that the president is due to engage with ANC structures in the Kroonstad area immediately after the wreath-laying ceremony. This isn't the first or this isn't the last stop on his visit. He'll also go to Govan, where he'll lay another wreath at the grave of J.S. Moroka, another ANC president. And then he's expected to engage with Free State ANC structures in Mangaung. That's interesting because this province is essentially it doesn't have provincial structures. Its interim provincial committee took the province to conference. There were a lot of disputes leading up to some of the regional conferences. And the Free State has been plagued by factionalism. It's the home ground of Ace Magashule. We have to mention that. He claims to still have a lot of support here in this province. We'll test that through this visit as we lead up to January 8th, certainly going towards the conference. But for now, it's back to you, and hopefully when we come back to you, we'll be able to show you the gravesite of Zr Mahabane with the president laying the wreath there.
All right, thank you so much for that, Govan Whittles, at the wreath-laying ceremony of Richard Mahabane, a former ANC president out in the Free State.